state of California to release my grandson, Jermaine Anthony Givens, whom they have been holding illegally since 2005. Jermaine Givens, like over 200,000 inmates in the state of California, did not receive due process, but were convicted. Jermaine was convicted even though his 6th, 4th, 14th, 2nd, all those amendments were violated. It was not good that they violate his amendments, so they violated the mother and his grandmother's 4th Amendment rights. On the first day of getting the jury, the DA came to the mother and grandmother and handed them a subpoena, forcing them out of the courtroom. So there was no support from the immediate family for Jermaine Givens. The state knew when handing these subpoenas out that they had no intention of calling the mother and grandmother to testify. The jury had no idea the state had done this deceitful act. So when the closing arguments were done by the state looked at the jury and the door and said, even the mother and grandmother believe that Jermaine committed this murder, because if they had really believed that he was innocent, they would be here to support him, or they would walk through the door right now. So the DA led the jury and had them to believe that Jermaine's mother and grandmother believed that he was a murderer. He had them believing by showing them paper with the witnesses, including the mother and grandmother for the state. So the jury thinking, if the mother and grandmother are testifying for the state against Jermaine, then the state must be right. That was a very deceitful act. It was very misleading. But this was one of the tactics that the state used to convict Jermaine. The state also called in a witness and told the jury, this witness is a liar. His name is Harold Wilson. He just got out of prison. He's a parolee. He's a drug dealer. He was standing on the streets when he was shot. He also lied in the prelim. But he is coming to you today to testify. And I want you to believe him. So Harold took the stand and told 3 or 4 different versions. One story he told, he was hallucinating. He said he saw Jermaine Givens on the top of the roof of the hospital. And he was very fearful for his life. Jermaine had an attorney, Chettle, that was appointed by the state that did not say anything during the trial. He did not make any motions. He did not object to anything that the state did. So there was another violation because Jermaine was not given an attorney to represent him. Jermaine has filed a habeas corpus, and now the federal court has said that he has adequately shown 3 constitutional rights that were violated. He did not have an effective counsel. He had a judge who rendered a sentence that was totally wrong. And he had a witness that did not tell the truth, a false witness. Jermaine told the judge and the jury that he did not commit the crime that they had charged him with, all to be disregarded. There were no witnesses called on Jermaine's behalf. At the time Harold Wilson was shot, he ran to a house in Oakland and told 4 people in the house that he did not know who shot him. He also told 2 police officers who did testify for the DA that Wilson also told him he did not know who shot him. Harold Wilson admitted to the court that he had been released from prison about 6 weeks prior to him getting shot, and he was serving a term of parole violation. But he assured the prosecution assured him that he would not be prosecuted for lying in court. He was rewarded for helping the prosecution to convict Jermaine Givens. The jury was composed of 7 females, which was very good for DA drama because he knew the women on the jury were probably mothers or grandmothers. If not, they had a mother. So he knew if he appealed to them in that manner, that they would vote for a guilty conviction. The DA, who was the state, was Mr. Limero. And in his quest for a guilty verdict, he lied to the jurors to keep them. He told them that Mr. Givens' mother and grandmother did not believe in his innocence, or they would be in the courtroom to support him. And he was very animated in doing this. He told the jury that Jermaine had to be guilty because of this lack of support. His exact words were, if they did not believe, then they would be here. The fact that they are not in the courtroom, knowing that they could not be in the courtroom because he had given them a subpoena not to attend the court. He knew that he was deceiving the jury in this respect because he knew where they were, in the room waiting to be called to testify. The grandmother sent a letter to Judge Reardon on the last day after seeing that the DA would not be calling her, and asked the judge if she could come into the courtroom. He said no, she could not come in the courtroom, and in fact had them to pull down the curtain on the door so the jury could not see a person in the hallway One of the jury members asked who the person was peeping in the door. He did not say, "That's the grandmother wanting to come into the courtroom, but she can't come in because she has a subpoena and will be called to testify." Several other people in the audience were also shocked at that behavior. In issuing a subpoena to the mother and grandmother, their Fourth Amendment rights were also violated. They were placed in a position to be under arrest because they could not go into the courtroom. We are requesting on behalf of Jermaine that he be released due to the fraud, which is a deliberate deception that was perpetrated for unlawful gain, perjury by giving false and misleading testimony while under oath, malice and deceit, which shows the trick and the deception that the state used in order to get a conviction, and failure to call potential witnesses.